Oh, wow. Wow. Live already. It's amazing. I think people are going to start filing in pretty soon here. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. And so, I'm just feeling so grateful today. So grateful. There's just been so many wonderful things that have happened in the past. I don't know, in the past 9 months, that have been truly amazing. And I think that every time I've come to a spot where the work got hard enough to where um, I was at a crossroads. Every time I got to that point, somebody new came and helped pick up the slack. And I'll tell you what, all the new faces that we've gotten recently have just been a joy to be around. Hey, Alex. Hey, Shannon. Good morning, my sister. Good morning, my brother. And just so many nice new people joining. You know what I mean? And I feel great about that. And I love the old guard, of course. And it's a pretty good base of people. Some people don't come every day, but I'm in contact with everybody. And that makes me feel good. You know, um, very few people left on bad terms, which is great, right? Great. And better than I could have ever imagined things to be. Because a lot of like what I do doesn't make any sense to people, right? You know, reaching out over and over again, sometimes to places where uh, I'm not really welcome or that they don't want my help, right? And constantly um, giving people more chances than maybe is healthy, right? And so there are things, of course, right, that I have no control over, right? That sometimes I get held accountable for, like, why are you letting this person in your chat, or why are you letting this person do this or that, or and it's like I'm not letting anybody do anything. Everyone's, you know what I mean? Everyone's here. They have to be in charge of themselves, right? And I'm in charge of myself. And so, it's sad that, we're not gonna run into like, 100 perfect Christians. Oh, hey, you're just about to be Christian. Oh, come on, join us right now. It's always gonna be um, someone outside of the lines, right? It's always gonna be someone that's hard to exist with, someone maybe even hard to love or hard to be around. And we get better, right? And so I'm no different than that. I was the same way. I'm sure I was that person that no one wanted to sit near, or that, oh, here comes this guy again, or people were patient with me. I mean, I guess I could say for myself that I don't cause a lot of strife. I'm kind of a peacemaker. But I don't think there's a problem with being really outspoken either, because at least you it's honest, right? You're letting people know how you feel right from the beginning. There's no guessing games, right? So like, I would just say like, I've asked you guys to do kind of a hard thing, to trust me in some things that seem, contrary to like, um, our direction, right? And to be open to be in the trenches. I think you guys all get it though. And I think what's hard is that a lot of things go against what you would like learn in like psychology, right? About, loving yourself, or, and like not taking like, abuse from other people, right? As far as like, not like in your personal life or in your relationships, right? But like you go out and try to preach, right? And these people like reject you over and over again, and like even cause you harm and strife and all this stuff, right? And it's forgiving and forgiving and forgiving people that are, would come here and like say derogatory stuff for no reason, right? And it's like, the world would tell you, okay, cut someone like that off, and just, why have someone around like that, right? But, of course, if it got to a point where it was affecting everybody, right, then you got to make choices, right? But for the most part, right, when we see somebody that's not in good shape, we should want to help them to get in good shape, I mean, that's the way I look at it. I don't know about you guys, but not everybody is where they should be at this moment, including us, right? And if the object of the game, right, if the object of the game is to make it, right, to salvation until to start over, right? Well, then, that's the job, right? If the idea was to you know this is going to be our eternity right here, then we would have to assimilate, right? Assimilate and live the best we can within the world's structure, right? But that's not what we're doing. God said this life it would be a vapor, right? Just barely a blip, just a poof, right? And we'll be, in a glorified body in eternity. And this will have had gone by very, very fast, right? And life does matter, of course, right? We're finding that out. We're finding out that we didn't evolve from a single-celled, creature, right? We devolved from God, right? We're descendants of God. We're divine spiritual beings, It's hard to imagine that, right? It's hard to believe that, but it's true, right? We're we're like royalty, and that goes for everybody, right? That goes for everybody. It's not just this group; it goes for everybody. Ecclesiastes 3:12. I know that there is no good in them, but for a man to rejoice and to do good in his life. Yeah. And also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his labor. It is the gift of God. Well, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Alex, you've always had the right ideas, right? Like as far as like, day to day, uh, day to day navigation of this world with the scriptures, right? Like, man, I've always been impressed with you on that, And I gotta have you on the show, man. I miss the days we were like doing shows together all the time. But yeah, I mean, it just like, yes, a lot of stuff does go along with like, just healthy living, right? But a lot of stuff is like, it is hard because you kind of have to do kind of opposite kind of stuff, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's difficult, Hey, Vader Jones, how you doing? Yes, great that you're here. Um, yeah, man, and so like, loving our enemies and forgiving, radical forgiveness, right? And but I think that helps us out, right? Because God says, right, vengeance belongs to him, right? So if we're constantly forgiving, right? It's not like it's not like people are getting away, right? Getting away with anything, right? You forgive, you forgive, you forgive. And God does his part. But we have to have faith and trust in that, God is a variable on this earth still, like, and never has not been, right? And so people have this idea that, oh, God is not here. God is here. I mean, God, he can't not be here, And so if we're doing what we're supposed to do, he will be faithful to us. He is faithful, right? And so I want to be like that. It says, I am awake early, wee, and she says, yeehaw. Well, it just reminded me of, like, wasn't there like a show, right? That was like, had a bunch of country people on it, and they played the banjo, and oh man, I can't remember what it's called. I'm barely old enough to remember. Hee Haw. His name was called Hee Haw. And anyway, man, but this is the crazy thing, man. Some of my best memories, right, are of that darn box, man. The darn image of the image of the darn beast, right? It's like, Gilligan's Island, all these things, right? Beverly Hillbillies. Yeah, I remember Beverly Hillbillies. They moved to California. They Ned was shooting at a goose. Ned was shooting at a goose, and they found oil, and then he moved to California, and they were all like super hicks, like super country, and they lived in Beverly Hills. Yeah, that's crazy, man. But I mean, it's just like they get you to accept these, witchcraft, and they get you to accept without even knowing it, without even knowing it. You're watching all these shows like Bewitched, or like what's that other one, man, with the genie in the bottle or whatever, I Dream of Jeannie. And yeah, good shows, right? I mean, you can't say they're not cleverly done and good, entertainment, but it was meant from the very outset to harm us, right? And now think about this: Bewitched, right? Just that title is mocking us. Okay, well, what's witch that starts with a B, right? Like, I mean, I know that that's a subtle thing, right? But you would be I mean, I don't know, man. My brain is messed up, right? To where it's always deciphering, unjumbling names, and it's you know, stuff like that, right? Like looking in the corners of all the video. I mean, yeah, it does get exhausting, right? But it's a way it's a way to decipher between the difference between me and them, right? Or us and them, right? And so you know, but the thing is they want us to do it, right? They want the new generation to do it. So that way we won't be able to tell them from us, because, they'll have our kids doing these things. And so, yeah, it's just, it's crazy. Yeah, they have us thinking that like witchcraft is fun, or it's some kind of cute game, right? Or, oh yeah, just get you a Ouija board. I had a Ouija board when I was a teenager. You know what I mean? Like, oh, let's go get it. I mean, it was like Milton Brothers. I mean, I thought a Ouija board would have been like some, creepy looking thing from like, from the back in the day, old times or something like that. It's just regular Parker Brothers video, just a regular game. Just go to this toy store and get it. And it's just very odd, man. Very odd that they almost have uh, this attitude that it's like not real, right? oh, here's a little fun little thing to do. It's a little, is it your friend moving the thing or blah, 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 And, there's always that little bit of doubt, you know, it's so crazy, right? It's so crazy. Oh yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what, my ex-wife, right? As soon as the Harry Potter book comes out, she waits in line, with the people dressed like Harry Potter, right? All the people dressed up. And then she gets it at midnight, gets the book. This is for the book, reads the whole thing that night, doesn't put it down until it is done, right? And then waits for the movie to come out. But I mean, can you believe that? I before reading the Bible, I think I've read like one book ever cover to cover, and it's she's just reading these Harry Potter books like it's candy. But you know what? Not and see, don't get the idea that I'm saying that I feel like I'm better than her or whatever. In some ways, she's far better than me because she's a reader or whatever, right? But this is what I'm saying is they have like your regular people, the mom of your kids running out to read these things, right? And of course, like I know my ex-wife, right? She's not thinking all that, right? She's not thinking witchcraft and all that is real or anything. It's just fantasy books or whatever. But it really wraps you up, right? And then so now if I'm a kid and I see my mom reading that, right, I'm gonna want to read it, right? I don't know, just I guess when I was a kid, it was something else like Berenstein Bears or whatever, or Star Wars, or other kinds of stuff, right? I mean, we were into all kinds of stuff too, right? He-Man, right? That's all occult stuff, right? Of course, anytime where you can, you know, any kind of magical show, right? It's witchcraft, right? And yeah, it's just crazy, right? He says mother wouldn't let dad take me to the movies, so I read the book. Last page had me scared, so I picked up my Bible cover. Wow, wow. The Bible. Oh, The Exorcist. Wow. Well, I mean, yeah. You know, some things do lead you to. Uh, that's interesting that you said that, Vader Jones, because I always tell people that, right? Like when I'm starting to talk about confirmation that God is real, sometimes I'll start with, well, look, all the evil is lined up against Jesus, right? Like, I mean, and you need Jesus to solve most most problems, right? And I would say all the problems, right? But it gets you to think, right? Well, if this is evil, and that Bible helps me, right? Then that should tell you something, right? It's it's easy for them. They want to argue, oh, this is a contradiction, that's a contradiction, this ain't right, that ain't right. But you can't explain why each of these verses comes true, or why when some kind of spooky thing in the night visits me, the name of Jesus gets to go away, right? These are things that you can't argue in a in a debate, right? Like you like if I say, hey, I read a scripture and all that's coming true, or everything in Proverbs helps me live my life, right? you know it is what it is, right? Well, and yeah, Shannon, of course, right? The Hollywood wants you to have an image of that, right? That is you know that makes God look bad, right? uh Hollywood won't give you an image of God that is uh correct or accurate, and so yeah, no. No contradictions, only mysteries, right? Well, see, I always tell people that if there are two verses, right, and they say two things, right, they're both true, right? You know, it's like a lot of times people want to fight this one or the other type thing, right? And sometimes it's both, you know? I mean, you know, yellow and blue makes green, right? I mean, green is a color all on its own. It's called green, right? It's, you know, it's just one color, but it's yellow and blue because it has to be. You know what I mean? Like it is green, but it's also yellow and blue, and so sometimes you'll get people that want to argue just one side of that, right? It has to be this, and the other side's no, it has to be that, and it's both, you know. And not only that, but like not only that, but like uh you know, people want us to argue about that kind of stuff, you know. You know, that's what the devil wants. You know, and we should ask ourselves, right? What do I get out of arguing this, right? What do I get out of it? What's the benefit for everybody? What's the cost, right? If you don't believe it, right? And I'm not saying that anything is less important, right? I mean, all truth matters, right? All of it, and we should all believe the one truth that it is. But then you also got to understand that, like, sometimes one statement will read two different ways to two different people, you know. You know, I say that this all the time, you know, that I'll say this all the time with you know, like if on the news it says like, oh, there's a, you know, influx of heroin over on these other streets, right? Well, the heroin addict is going to go there. A person that doesn't do heroin is going to be like, oh, I got to stay away from that. But it's the same information, but it leads two different people to do two different, completely different things, right? And sorry for using that always as an example, but it's a good illustration of that, you know, that sometimes you'll read a statement and I'll read a statement that is exactly the same, and it'll cause different reactions. And you know, they know this, you know what I mean? They know which statements will bring certain people into certain areas, right? It's very insidious and nuanced, their psychological games, you know. The fact that we're even here, you know, is at this moment, right? You know, in our minds, right? Like the fact that we're even truthers that can see the truth, it's a miracle, you know. I mean, God brought us here. Let's see here. Camo says, we will have a good servant link up in Canada and one in the States. I don't get that. What does that mean? What does that mean? What are you guys saying? Oh, yeah, I mean, like, that's good. That'd be cool, I guess. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm not following the conversation. What's up, Michael? I'm glad you're here, brother. North Carolina. Yeah, Clutch is here. That makes me happy. Faith is here. You know, it's weird, like right around this time, right? Like 15, 20 minutes in, right? That's when everybody really starts showing up, right? Like, I mean, of course, the people that show up right away, that's awesome, right? Especially since, you know, I have a history of at least once a week sleeping past my thing, you know. But I'll tell you what, I was like leaning back today, right? And I set like 5 alarms, right? 5 alarms on 2 phones, right? And I leaned back right about 10 minutes till, and man, I was just maybe you can call that meditation, because I am just so relaxed. Right before the show is when I feel the best ever. And then I click on the show and I'm just completely at peace. And even when I'm like coming on to talk, right, after like having a frustrating session with somebody, or maybe even a disagreement, right, I'll still be at peace explaining that, because, oh, hey, Uncool, what's going on? I'm glad that you're here. That makes me happy. And I feel happy about that. But what do you call it? Yeah, so like even if I have a frustrating session with somebody, it's like I just have love for that person so much that I just want them. I want them to see it, right? And if I relent, though, right, just to get along, right, it won't help, right? Like I don't know, like I won't just tell someone what they want to hear, um, to let it go, right? If I don't have to dig in, I usually don't, right? Like 99% of the time, if I'm not 100% sure I'm right, I don't dig in. I'm like, okay, there's a 1% chance that I'm not right here, but whatever, it's not that important, right? But I mean, if I'm right about something, I dig in because it's the truth. It's helpful to the other person, right? And any frustration I have is just out of like hurt for them, because like when I'm learning stuff, right? I know what that feels like, to be like, oh, I got confronted and I kind of feel a little dumb or something like that. But we move on, we shake it off, we move on. And that's how we form better family friendships, right? Like I know that the urge is to run away, right? When either you make a mistake or other people don't understand you or something. It's like, oh, forget these people, man. They got me all wrong. I'm out. But if you stay and work past it, then you don't have to keep jumping group to group. If whatever it is, whatever your roadblock is at, right? You just work through it. Oh, Lumpy Space Princess, remember her? Oh my God, from Adventure Time. Oh my God, the Lumpy Space Princess. That's funny. She was always in a bad mood, man. Anyway, I had to watch that for my kid, for my youngest kid. There's always some kind of cartoon I have to watch, right? So that we have something to talk about, because we didn't have a lot in common. Like me and my oldest son have sports and all this stuff, right? And me and the youngest kid, I have to watch like some cartoon, and I love it though. I love talking to my kids though. Michael says, I was arguing with someone last night about the least of these commands, and she was saying the least of these is the whole law. Oh wow. Oh wow. But you know what? It's almost like, is that even worth it? Like if someone is saying something like that, Michael, do you think you can even reason with somebody like that? Like sometimes they'll say something so ridiculous just not to have to agree with you. And you're just like, well, if this is where you are, right, then I can't help you. I mean, you can only just be frustrated and then just, you know what I mean, process it. Oh my God, the whole law. Yeah, but Michael, even still, right? Even still, if you teach the whole law and you keep it, oh my God, man, no, 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 that's bad. That's bad, brother. That's all bad. There's the only way is Jesus. That's it. That's it. Even if you taught the law and followed all the law, you can't use any of that. I mean, you can do that to make God happy if you want, right? But you can't use any of that for righteousness, right? Like you could be perfect, and if you don't have your faith in Jesus, right? I mean, the whole idea is we're doing it God's way, not our own way, and so that's also, you know what I mean? Like you can't follow everything and not follow that. Like that's because we're even commanded to do that, right? Yeah, turn it into love. That's all it is, right? You just say, hey, if we ever disagree, it's only because we have love, right? Like you have love for God, I have love for God, and it's very personal. And this is what I've known my whole life. That's what you know, right? It's hard to let go of this information, even when it's wrong. Because maybe I learned it from my dad or my grandpa or whatever, somebody I love, or maybe I learned it from, a good, well-meaning pastor, right? And so there's all these variables, right, of how we got all this information, right? And so sometimes it's difficult, right? But then there's also two ways to look at things too. Like there are people that see things as being just, okay, this right here is all spiritual and symbolic, and this here is literal, right? And then you both things can be true if you're looking at it from both of those different angles, as far as the way you read it. But as far as in real life, it can only be one way, right? And so that's tough too. Yeah, well, Clutch, this is what I would say, right? I would say, yeah, if God wants me to do something, I want to do it. You know what I mean? No matter what it is. But this is why they say, so yes, do the law, but you can't use any of it for righteousness. That's the point, right? Because if you turn the argument into should we do all the law or should we lean on Jesus, right? I say it's both. Right? It's both, right? Faith in Jesus gives you righteousness and salvation, right? And then doing the law makes God happy, right? But don't put them together, right? As far as okay, well, you have to do all these things in order to be saved, right? That's where it becomes a bad doctrine, right? So, Clutch, I agree with you in the sense that, yeah, why wouldn't we want to do it? I mean, of course, look, there's laws in there. I couldn't even tell you all the laws, right? Like, don't eat this or don't do this on this day or whatever. There's a whole bunch of stuff, right? It's hard to quantify. I wouldn't know how to act if I knew all the laws, right? But I mean, as far as commandments and things we're asked to do and doing all the right things, right? Of course, right? Of course. I absolutely agree with that. And James is an amazing book. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it'd be difficult to find a person that has like a ton of faith, right? That just doesn't have any works at all. Like, I mean, it would be such a rare thing to see, right? But there's always people that want to know the minimum. What's the minimum that I have to do, And I don't think that's a good way to look at life, or your relationship with God in general. Alex puts Galatians chapter 5 verse 4. Christ is become of no effect unto you, whosoever are justified by the law. Ye are fallen from grace. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. We are justified by the blood of Jesus, not the acts of following the law. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you can't use it for righteousness at all. So Cold Spring says, hey y'all, if I could please ask for a prayer. My husband has been searching for work the last 2 weeks. he's completely discouraged and has an interview on Monday and really wants a job. Okay, okay. You know what? My brother needed some prayer um, for his job, and Deb prayed for him, and he um, he partnered with another, you know, another. I don't want to say what my brother does for a living, but for case of the trolls, but amazing things happened, and so I'll have everybody pray, and I'll even tell Deb to see if we can't get um, another miracle, right? That's what we need, right? Clutch says, I feel called lately to follow the law. Well, yeah. You mean like the law, like the food laws and all that stuff, like everything? Or you mean the law is in like the commandments? And that's that's an interesting question. Thank you guys. I've been praying, but yes, absolutely, we'll be praying. Galatians chapter 2, verse 16, knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law, but by faith in Jesus Christ. I can't stay in the law. I like to drive fast. Yeah, there you go. Well, the whole point, right, is that only Jesus is perfect. None of us are going to be perfect. We can't even, you know, we can't do anything in a perfect way, you know. No, Shannon, this is what we're here for. That's what we're here for. We're here to support each other. Hey, Bubba. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Jesus is the answer to everything, you know? I think the answer to everything. You have the liberty to do is just, yeah, exactly. God given free will, you know? If you feel called to do the law, right, then then do it. You just can't use it for righteousness, right? Only because it says it too many times, not that you can't, right? Not that not you know, not that it's a bad idea to do what you want, you know, if it says to do something and it makes you and God happy, then that's great, right? It's a personal relationship, right? Your relationship with God will be different than my relationship with God. Romans chapter 14, verse 5. One man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. Well, yeah, and it even goes along with like Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8 and 9, right? Like you know, we're all saved by the sacrifice and grace of Jesus, you know, or else we would be saying, "Oh, I did it better than you, or you did it better than me." There would be people out there boasting, right? That there would be people boasting that they did salvation better, but when we rely solely on Jesus, right? Then it's His glory alone, right? And He deserves it, right? So it's like, you know, instead of saying, you know, Lord, Lord, what about all the good works I've done in your name, right? It's like, Lord, Lord, thank you for what you've done for us to get us in here, you know? Because if you're running up to God and bragging about all your good works and you don't know him, you know? You don't know him. Ephesians 8:8, for by the grace ye are saved through faith and not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not works, lest any man should boast. Yeah, I would even say 8 and 9. Yeah, 8 and 9. So, but that's Ephesians chapter 2, Alex. I don't think it's chapter 8. Oh, yeah. Cool. I'm glad you corrected that. I knew that you knew already. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think, I mean, just think about, I mean, just wow, just think about the humility and the forgiveness, the amount of forgiveness that Jesus was willing to give us, right? And doesn't that like give you, like, doesn't it give you like the ability to like, okay, I'm gonna forgive my brother or my neighbor of something small, I'm gonna forgive even my enemy for coming against me today. Because look, I mean, if we're out there at all, ever, right? If if we're ever out there thinking that we're better than anybody else, right? Or that we're not as good as anybody else. Oh yeah, I think yeah. Bubba was just asking just to see where you were at. Just a supportive question. I get it. Because once we're saved by the blood of Jesus, right? It's like then whatever we do in the law is just to make God happy, right? It's just because we love God, right? I mean, of course, like it's not like, oh, we're saved, let's go sin, man. Two middle fingers up. We're just gonna, let's go to the Lady Gaga concert now. I mean, that would be a horrible way to think about salvation, right? Of course, we're gonna try not to sin and not and to follow the laws, right? Sinning makes me sick, right? But like just the fact that I'm a human. I know that it will happen, and and it's more often than I think, and it just terrifies me, and it's gross, man. I hate this suit, man. I can't wait to get it off me. Yeah, absolutely, Bubba. Bubba, I want to have you on to talk about like I want to go over the rapture. I want to go over fallen angels and all that, and I want to give you your own 45 minutes. But I always feel like you have your own channel. You're doing all that. So just if you ever want to do a show, you just let me know when you can do it, and then I'll work it in there. It's up to you, and no pressure either. You're not like if you never want to do it, I still want you to come here and hang out. You know. Clutch says for me, it's because I see many in error Christian dark. Oh yeah, absolutely. Because there's a lot of these, splits and fights and all that. Yeah, it's hard to go like there's some churches I feel okay at, but there are some that I mean, churches are corrupt, man, and you might find a good one but it's still corrupt. On some level. I mean, that's sad to say, right? I don't want to say that about people, but it's true, right? I mean, it's a business, man. And then once you start getting into like these these tax liens and these 501c3s and all that, right? All that stuff, right? It's they really are in bed with the government, man. You know, it's just it's this, it's horrible, man. Yeah. Well, I don't know, but the clutch, that's I don't know about that because there's a lot of Jewish people that do Torah but don't follow Jesus. I wish they did. I wish they did. I don't think Clutch, were you saying that it's either or that you want to do both? Because sometimes I think like there will be like people that accept the grace and sacrifice of Jesus, but then still feel convicted to do the law. I don't know. It's a rare bird, man. But it's dicey because you can't have it. You can't lean of that for righteousness, right? It's yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. So he didn't give up on Jesus, and I knew that. I wanted to wait for his answer. Torah, what is that? First four books of the Bible. Torah is the first four books of the Bible, I think. If someone says five books, I'm going to be. I think it's the first four books of the Bible. No, 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 Vader Jones. That's a good question. Kabbalah is what Madonna follows. That's Jewish mysticism. That's Satanism. To be totally honest, right? What's the opposite of the Torah, right? Well, if the Torah is the first four books of the Bible and the Torah is about God, right? Well, then the Kabbalah would be in contrast to that. So that would mean that Kabbalah is the devil, right? I don't know. That's the way I would look at it. That's my logic. So the way you can tell Invader, right, is and they don't hide this, right? If they got like a red band on their wrist, the red string or whatever, and I would say 99% of the celebrities have it. I know that's a big statement, but it's about true. They have a little red string on their arm, and yeah, and the Talmud is goes along with that, right? And that is a nasty book, nasty book. Um, Philippians chapter 2, verse 12. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. People I know said it makes them feel more connected and healthy. Well, then that's great, Clutch. Then do that. Talmud, yeah. The Talmud, I mean, anybody that talks like that about Jesus, I'll say is a nasty book. But yeah, they'll have these red bands around their arms. So if you like go to on Google and like search Kabbalah band, it'll show you, or celebrities Kabbalah bands, it'll show you who has them on their arms and stuff. When people start studying the Torah, why don't they just skip to the chase and get the Zohar and demon right? Pharisee chain command. Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's one path, right? I would just say like if you're going to do Torah, right? Just get the Bible and just go from the first four books of the Bible. And but I mean, I don't know why you'd want to. I mean, as long as you know that the only way, like you're only imparted to righteousness because of the sacrifice of Jesus, right? That He is everything when it comes to salvation. Then, if you want to do things to connect to God, I guess that's on you. I mean, there's things I do to connect to God every day. Oh, really? Okay. You mean the laws in the first four books of the Bible are called the seed of the serpent? Or I know that the seed of the serpent was from the sexual sin in the garden is what that I mean that line is like sexual sin in the garden, and there's the serpent seed, and then you know seed of the woman, and then serpent seed, right? I feel like there's so much politics about the Bible that I don't know. Oh yeah, there is. Yeah, the Pentateuch. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that, Bubba. I don't think anybody's saying not to do it. I think people are just saying like, if you're trying to do it for righteousness, or if you're trying to do it because you feel you have to, right? Then that's not probably right. But if you're doing it to feel more connected to God and it makes you feel better, I don't see a problem with that. But if there is scripture that says doing it is bad or whatever, then I'd have to rethink that, right? You know. But I mean, as far as I know, I kind of have the same idea that Clutch has, is that like you're told that like, oh yeah, like, people feel good when they you know start doing the old laws and stuff because it makes you feel close to God. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting talk, right? I know this is laws or no laws, you're not gonna go to the afterlife unless you are justified by the blood of Jesus Christ. That's it. Only one way, only one truth, right? There's not two truths. There's not, it's not connected. You don't have to do both things, right? All that. It's just, yeah. So if like you're saying, hey, there's all these things in here that I want to try to stay connected and healthy. Okay. Then I could see that. I could see that. But I get what Bubba is saying, right? I think the concern is like if people start leaning on that, right? It's like, and it's just out of concern, right? It's not out of like judgment. No one's judging you, right? It's like, oh, okay, well, I want to make sure this person knows, right, that their salvation is some other thing. And I don't know, and I don't, and try not to take everything so like this is it. Like I don't try to take everything super personal when it's like debate and talk and all that. It's like, okay, well, people saying certain things, I'll take a look at that. Because I've had people say some like absurd things to me. I'm like, I have to really look at that, before I give you an answer, because it looks like there's a lot of that's a big statement or something. Not that it's good or bad, but if it's a big statement, then it takes a lot of thinking, right? It takes a lot of like, what is this person's intention? What do they mean? All this kind of stuff. And so, and Bubba's good people, man. So I trust his intentions. Michael too. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We have a good group here. I mean, any group that's willing to stay in reality, which is like very tough because of how depressing it could be out there, and then we're in reality but joyful to support each other. That's amazing. And so, oh, Deb is here. I didn't see her slide in here. Hey, Deb, we need prayers for Shannon's husband. He has an interview on Monday. So in case you didn't hear. And who else slid in here? Did I miss somebody else? Oh, if I miss somebody, I'm gonna freak out. Oh, Case Stover's here. Chris is here. Woo woo. Oh, that's good, man. Oh, that's good. What a good group we have. I know, but you know what time it is, though, right? You know what time it is, right? This is what sucks, man. It's time to hit the old dusty trail. And man, that show yesterday was great, right? I didn't mention it yet, but the show, I mean, with Jake, I mean, he blew my mind with a couple of things. I learned like four things. I feel happy, but anyway, it's good to leave wanting more, right? And so, oh, cookies and Mario Kart, you have everything at your house. All right, so what are we here for, right? All glory to God, right? It's praise Jesus for his sacrifice and his grace. All glory belongs to God because he deserves it. No, it's okay that you woke up exactly when God woke you up, And I'm glad you're here, And I'll see you guys. I'll pray for the children, please. And I will see you guys tonight at 5 p.m. God bless.